Hello, everyone. Welcome. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live session with Line for Dev. I'm Rahima Wasti, marketing executive, and I'm thrilled to be here with our founder, Philip Cutting. Today, we are diving into a dynamic world of economy and freelancing. We'll explore its definitions, growth drivers, a technology's role, and much more. Philip, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you, Rahima. I am so excited. It's a pleasure to be talking to you guys from grad here today. So, topic where it lines up with kind of the way I live my life in some ways, exactly. But the guys who take advantage of today's topic are really going to appreciate uh, my lifestyle. So, I'm super excited about the discussion for gig economies and reshaping how we work.
And same here. Let's start with basics. Philip, can you define the gig economy and give us an idea of the scope? Also, do you have any personal experiences or examples that highlight the essence of gig work?
I sure do. So, uh, the gig economy to the labor market characterized by short-term contracts, or for they're both. They're normally freelancers doing short-term projects. Now they may be people that are a full-time career somewhere else. As far as your engagement in that gig or the gig economy, it's considered short, as opposed to permanent jobs for most people are familiar with. It encompasses everything from ride sharing, food delivery, freelance writing, graphic design, developers, right? Thinking gigs, you're thinking specific tasks that's short term, right? So, for example, an Uber driver, right, who chooses their own works. These are just all examples of the gig economy, and essentially, it's about the person doing the work. It's about the flexibility and ability to do project-based work based off of projects that they're interested in doing. And it also allows roles to work on terms. For clients, it's about having access to talent based off of specific needs, specific times, without having to take on the uh, obligation of a long-term or a long-term partnership.
Right. That's really fascinating. I recently read about a friend who turned her passion for photography into a successful freelance business. What do you think that there are the key drivers behind the growth of the gig economy, Philip?
Several factors, and these include technological advances, economic shifts, and changes in workforce preferences, and more so, augmented reality is going to be stepping into this realm. For now, technology in particular has made it easy for people to find this work, these gig projects. For instance, Upwork, Fiverr. These are platforms where you can find talents and connect and build those long, even short-term relationships. And sometimes sometimes what a lot of people do will find a long-term relationships through gig work, through testing people out by seeing how they perform on a few gigs and seeing if they are a good fit, just if you like working with them, right? So it's a great, terrific gateway drug into long-term.
That is something that I would agree to. Technology has indeed revolutionized the way we work. Speaking of which, how has technology facilitated gig work?
Yeah, technology's provided a pivotal role in finding and performing work. So platforms like Uber, Upwork, Fiverr have made it easier for workers to connect with clients, right? Have these platforms that facilitate everything from payments to conflict resolution to uh, present your talent. Right? And these digital tools also allow for remote work project management, which helps simplify systems and makes the gig economy even more accessible and efficient. So, for instance, a freelancer in India can easily work with a client in the US using these platforms, and you can protect yourself by setting up the criteria clearly, making sure that you have clear deliverables. There's a process to make sure you perspective, and from the freelancer perspective.
Freelancing has its perks and challenges. Philip, what are the main pros and cons of freelancing from your perspective? And could you share an example of someone who successfully navigates these aspects?
Okay, sure. So on the positive side, freelance offers flexibility, independence, and the opportunity to pursue diverse projects. It helps people gain their skills in a way that you probably couldn't access in their employment, right? So, for example, a freelancer writer who can choose the topic that they're passionate about and can work from anywhere in the world, travel, take care of family, right? Have the freedom to live their lifestyle and to gain income through gigs. However, it also comes with some uncertainties, such as inconsistent income, lack of benefits, and the need for self-discipline in time management. And also the ability to recognize the limits of your talent. So a friend of mine who's a freelance developer often will jump multiple projects at one time, balancing the freedom of choosing from different projects that he's interested in, and balancing the pressure of meeting deadlines, taking steady income.
Absolutely. Freelancers often enjoy the freedom, but also face challenges that, like finding steady work. Personally, I think balancing multiple projects can be both rewarding and demanding. I've seen some freelancers in my network thriving by meticulously planning their schedules and maintaining strong client relationships. And
Indeed. Sorry.
yeah, so I'm going to move on to the next question. How is the gig economy impacting traditional employment, Philip? Are there specific industries where this shift is more prominent?
Sure. So it's creating a shift in how companies are increasingly relying on gig workers for specific tasks, normally very technical and very specialized. And this is helping reduce their need for full-time employees. So this shift is particularly predominant in industries like technology, media, transportation, deliveries, right? For example, many tech companies now hire freelance developers for specific projects rather than maintaining large in-house teams. And this shift can lead to more flexibility and cost-effective operation, but also raises concerns about job security, IP protection, security, and also worker rights and IP intellectual property rights.
Absolutely, that is a really valid point. The balance between flexibility and stability is definitely crucial for both workers and employees. Now, moving on to the next question, let's talk about freelancing platforms. Which ones do you think are the most influential in the gig economy, and how can freelancers make the most of these platforms?
Oh, such a good question. So platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, freelancer.com are among the most popular. They provide a space for freelancers to showcase their skills and projects and connect with clients. So each platform has its unique preferences and the way they market to their clients. The expectations for all those platforms are very different. So, and also the way the way that the freelancers deliver services on these platforms are very different. Who are working with freelancers from, I think they should follow the protections of those platforms, because I've seen a lot of clients come to me and say, hey, Phil, I hired it on Fiverr. We then took our project off of Fiverr. I paid them a lot of money, but never delivered the work. right? So there's risks when you go off firms, and of course there's benefits, right? Maybe you save the cost of the platform, right? But there's large risks to that. So balance your needs and your ability to manage these projects, and consider the benefits that they provide. And this is protection for both you, the freelancer or clients, and the team on the opposite side, right? Um, and so, for example, Upwork is great for long-term or significant projects, right? Where there's professional services, uh, talent, creative, and unique, while Fiverr is more suited for quick gigs, create in the creative services where perhaps it's every project is kind of limited in scope, and it can be done quick and it's repetitive, right? So, for example, I find a lot of manual tasks on Fiverr where somebody just, this is what they do all day long. They specialize in that, and there's not a lot of variation. On Upwork, I find a lot of large projects get done where they can be 2-3 months projects. There's multiple stages, and there's differences in how deliverables are qualified. So different platforms will suit different needs, and just kind of go in there, and it's easy to get a good feel for the differences between the platforms based off of searching for what your need. Platforms are amazing, and I think both have their weaknesses.
Yeah, I guess I believe I've noticed that too. Each platform offers definitely various opportunities, but it's important to choose the right one based on your skills and goals. So moving on to the next questions, freelancers are also somebody who need to consider legal and financial aspects. What advice would you give them, Philip, especially regarding managing finances and understanding legal obligations?
Okay, sure. So first, understand the tax implications of freelancing within your country and how taxes are applied based off of the client's country. The platforms will generally take care of this for you. Just be aware that you should maintaining your bank records and your incomes professionally so that you can take care of your own tax work. Now that you're a gig worker, you're an independent businessman, nobody's taking care of that for you anymore, right? So make sure you're staying on those. You get professional advice and consultations on how to handle this right? And it's easy to do. Just one of the things that I'll always recommend, have a separate bank account for your business expenses and incomes to help separate that out from your personal, all the way up to creating a legal entity where you really separate everything. You get the benefits of the protections of entities, but you need to get advice on how to do that in your country or state. Every country, every state, even sometimes counties are very different, especially when it comes to how legal issues are addressed, right? So just make sure you're using good taxware, accounting software that you're have if you have legal documents, have those reviewed. Some even for Upwork, right? Not a terrible idea to have an attorney do that with you, or ChatGPT go through that with you, right? I prefer a real pro over ChatGPT, but understand those consequences of working on those platforms, and clients also understand the consequences and limitations of those platforms.
Definitely. Philip, that definitely was a great advice. Financial planning is crucial for freelancers to ensure long-term stability. I have always recommended freelancers to consult with a financial advisor to get a clear picture of their financial health and future planning. What strategies
also make sure
can
you set aside a little bit of money for plan ahead that Uncle Sam or your brother got to be looking to cut.
Absolutely,
Ahead,
that is yeah. What strategies can freelancers use to build a successful career? Could you share example of skills and networking strategies that have worked well for others?
Perfect. So firstly, continuously upgrading your skills to stay relevant. Networking is all key concepts with connecting with other freelancers and sharing your experiences, sharing what's working in the industry and on the platforms that you're working on, and also connecting with other freelancers to balance out each other's talents. It's a beautiful thing when you get a team of freelancers around you and doing work between each other that completes each other with professional know with the level of qualification, the quality work that you can expect from each other, and you keep that inside your network, and you work hard to build the relationships, to build amazing product delivery, and to give a consistent experience. And you help each other. So create a group of freelancers around yourself. Once you create this freelance group, you
Right.
basically become an agent, and it's really powerful, right? I can't say how many times I've gone from a network of amazing talent to becoming partners. It's just no better and more organic way to do it. So for instance, a freelancer that I know has worked on multiple projects by finding LinkedIn, work on LinkedIn, right? And collaborating by sharing their content on LinkedIn, and other people saying, hey, I love this content. Both clients and agencies or freelancers say, hey, I love the way you presented. I'm going to introduce my clients to you, right? Let's work together on this, right? And here's the key to this, right? If you want to make this successful, when another freelancer brings something like this to you, your first question to yourself needs to be, how do I make this other guy rich, right? If your first thought is, how do I get rich off of this? Reputation is going to go down the drain, right? So just step back and say, how do I make this other guy rich, right? How do I help them, right? And this should be how you look at your clients and how you look at.
Definitely, I completely agree to that. Networking has personally helped me a lot in my career as well. What skills do you think are currently in demand in the gig economy?
Obviously, skills like programming, digital marketing, graphic design are highly sought after, right? However, soft skills such as communication, time management, uh, adaptability are equally important. And for example, a freelancer who excels in time management and communication can handle multiple jobs efficiently while also building strong client relationships.
Definitely, that's true. Soft skills are often make a significant difference in freelancers' success. What are the biggest challenges and opportunities you see in the gig economy?
Oh, sure. So the biggest challenges include job security,
Mhm.
benefits, health. There's no health benefits, right? There's you have to manage all your. You have to ensure that you're following regulations, right? And making sure that you have steady work, right? Downtime or lack of projects now become your problem, not your employer's. However, the opportunities are vast, right? So development is amazing. Freelancers can work from anywhere, choose any project that they're passionate about, and have the potential to earn more than traditional employees, right? So, for instance, a digital marketer transformed into freelancing and now travels the world, kind of like myself, right? We're a flock together, and while working remotely, enjoys both professional success and personal fulfillment, and has more time to spend with their family. So um, anybody who's a parent, right, needs to balance the benefits. Look at the time you can spend with them while they're growing up, especially while they're young, knowing it's going to be the hardest time on both your family and to go into this when you're young, but so worth it. I cannot recommend something higher than going into fulfilling your own entrepreneurial career, taking that jump, being brave, working hard. You work harder than you ever did before, but it's going to be so rewarding.
And definitely, opportunities indeed abound. The key is to navigate the challenges effectively. Now, moving on to the other section where we're gonna get the questions from the audience. We're having a few questions over here. On YouTube, we got what are the legal implications of freelancing across different countries?
Okay, so one of the big things that I learned early on is that different countries consider intellectual property ownership differently, right?
Mhm.
So there's some countries that say the developer or writer owns the intellectual property from the start, right? And unless they officially transfer it, they still own it. And so that should be in the contract. So you need to go out and get a good master service agreement with intellectual property disclosure, and um, and create scopes of work, define how you're going to create those scope of works, right? Realizing that on long-term projects and bigger projects, and with startups, it can be kind of wild and all over the place. So you have to define a lot of stuff ahead of time and make sure it's acceptable, right? So one of the biggest challenges is going to be handling changes inside
Right.
your projects if you're doing bigger projects. If you're doing smaller projects, yeah, it's easy. You're knocking stuff out. It's great, right? And if there's a problem with one client, if you're doing a lot of $10 or $100 projects, right, and a client doesn't pay, okay, no problem, right? It happens. If you're doing 20, 30, $100,000 projects,
Mhm.
$1 million projects, right, that you have to plan in clients not paying or postponing payment. Right? You need to consider economies and how laws are going to affect your work. What will happen if there's a dispute? How to handle arbitrage. So, just one of those things that I recommend ahead of time: getting a good contract that's fair on both sides and is super clear, and making sure that your client signs that with you and is clear on your expectations. It should have of behavior of professional expectations. The client should know what to expect out of you. You should know what to expect out of the client, and what you can demand from the client. How to handle late payments, how to handle delayed responses. All these things will be in a good. And I
Mhm.
think that's where you start. And a client that's doing significant projects isn't willing to sign such a contract. You should first of
Mhm.
all see if it's fair, if it's overall, and if it is, see if you should consider working with that client or just move it on. Right. Some of the biggest risks you're going to face, aside from not payments, legal issues, people saying your work isn't the quality that they expected or isn't what they expected, is that there's going to be changes in economies and laws, and in expectations that clients have over time. So, like anything else, try to deliver in the shortest possible period. To be professional, be kind, love on your clients, right? And a lot of times that love will come back.
Definitely, that was definitely a very wise advice from you. The other question is that if we got on LinkedIn is how do freelancers handle the lack of traditional benefits like insurance and retirement plans?
Yeah. So when you're beginning, it's hard to prove your value, right? So the
Mhm.
first thing you want to do is get 5 good projects under your belt, right? Whatever they are, long, short, whatever. Hopefully, you can keep them short and simple, right?
Mhm.
And build up your reputation, build up your name, right? And your ability to perform. In the beginning, you may be doing these for free, close to free, or requiring a contribution to charity, right? And just be
Mhm.
clear where you are in your professional journey, right? You should have a talent base to do this in the first place, and you should be able to show your work, but you should also be clear about where you are and where you're heading. Now, if you're good, right, and you're delivering, you'll start filling up your work, right? So um, there's a few philosophies. Just the way I look at it: pick 5 projects and do it close to free. The next
Mhm.
5 projects, you raise the price, and you just keep raising it until you are both filled with work and until
Mhm.
you're making the income that you're looking for. Now, in the beginning, it's like I said, you're starting at the very low end of income, unless you can sell your way into that, right? But a
Exactly.
lot of people can. There's a lot of competition, right? But as you get that experience behind you and you're delivering amazing results, you get busier than you can be. Just keep raising your prices until you get resistance. Once you get resistance, look at what that resistance is and uh, find the solutions that bring more value, that show your value, right? And over time, you're going to be able to afford the health insurance benefits. Your income is going to span the gap between what you could have earned as an employee and with benefits, right? An employer is looking for a significant return on value that you provide, right? It's hard to get that if you don't have all the systems set up to be successful, and it takes time to develop those systems in the first place. So I think in the end, it's just a matter of not worrying about those benefit gaps. Keep track of your income, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you get into the social services. In the beginning when you're poor, right? That's okay, right? You're getting insurance from the states or medical assistance from the church or whatever community you're part of, right? Rely on that and grow to be the man and woman that's leading in your community. This is so natural. This is why we have low-end jobs. People learn how to work, for example, at McDonald's. They learn how to clean, how to prepare. They learn responsibility. Same thing for
Exactly.
gig workers. You grow and do plan that eventually you're going to have medical expenses. Fortunately, when we're young, there are less, so we have time to work on that. When you get married, obviously you need to have something to be prepared for those children, for things that start to come up when you get into your 30s and 40s. But as soon as possible, make sure you get that insurance coverage, but make sure you're tracking your income and you're applying your expenses appropriately. There's a lot of tax structures that are critical to tracking your income, your expenses, your profits, how much they're going to tax you. And so just know what that is and grow with the benefits that are part of the community and offer to you to support growing businesses. There's a lot of them.
Superb that is. And what tips do you have for building a strong freelance portfolio that came on LinkedIn?
Okay, so in the very beginning, I encourage you to find to niche into an interest, some topic of interest for you, and create a project that is both beautiful and interesting to you. It doesn't have to be super useful. It doesn't have to be creating income, right? What it should be is attractive. If you can't make attractive things that are fairly unique, hire a designer, right, to do that for you. Spend the money on design. If you don't have that money, I'm sorry, man, you're in trouble, right? But collaborate with a designer to help you create this. There's a lot of designers that are also looking to start and have that talent. And and you can work together, right? You can fill your weaknesses with somebody else's strengths, but be prepared to reciprocate, right? Bring them work, right? So the next project or 5 projects that you do together, they should go to this designer that helps you out. I've seen so many people run over designers because they didn't come to work they did. They got the design and they never did the project. So if you do create these relationships, make sure that you're the kind of person that delivers on your promises, right? It's not hard to do. Just don't overbite what you can do. Keep it simple. Don't try to replace Amazon or anything, right? Don't try to recreate Yelp or anything huge. Keep it simple and show one thing, but show it well, right? And don't abuse the people supporting you, right? And just go back to the thing I said before, where the question to working with somebody is, how do I make them rich, right? How do I make my designer rich that's helping me with the design? How do I help the guy that's marketing me, that's getting my name out there? How do I make them rich? You'll find me on Upwork. How do I make? I say to myself, how do I make Upwork rich? How do I make my client rich? How do I make my team rich, right? Those are the questions I ask myself. How do I support everybody so that it's irresistible to work with me?
Philip, that was such a beautiful piece of advice from you. Finally, what are your final thoughts about gig economy?
I love gig economies because they help you develop your business. They help you grow from a small time skilled person that's good at something to grown into potentially a huge agency that is providing value to millions and millions of people, right? The journey is amazing. Ability to have extra income, to get a little better quality of life, it's irresistible. So I love it. I encourage everybody to find their passion, to make money from their passion, and just make the world a better place. And I think it's good for the gig economy.
And thank you so much, Philip, for sharing your expertise with us today. And thank you to our audience for joining us. If you found this session valuable, please like and subscribe to our LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook channels for more insightful sessions from Line for Dev. Until next time, stay safe and secure.
Thank you, everybody. Keep striving for success.